Hello guys, it's been a long time, but I'm back a little bit with a short video about StreamingLevels, which actually contains a question also. But to begin with, I wanted to show a little bit about how to deal with submaps. So here I have the first person template, and I have a 1, 2, 3 submaps, which has these individual boxes in them. So this should be fairly straightforward. If we have a look at the persistent level blueprint, you can see I don't have currently anything. I had this connected up at a point, but I disabled it again. But what they do here is just sequentially load the 3 maps here. You can do that by going to clicking this little icon up here, and then set them to initially loaded and visible. And that's actually what I did. I just tried if that made any difference. So here in the middle here I have a trigger volume. It's actually just a BP level trigger, which I just created by right clicking and creating an actor and then adding a box collision and the cube, which I made really flat, as you can see here. So there's nothing really special about that. On the blueprint itself, I have a begin overlap on the component, and I'm checking if it's the capsule I collide with, and also on end overlap I have a trigger. So what this is supposed to do is when I trigger it, I will unload the 3 maps. So I also have an array here which holds the names of the levels that I want to unload or load. So if we click this out here, we can see I entered the name submap 1, 2, and 3, which matches the names up here. So when I hit play and step over them, you can see it says unload completed something, and if we review the output log here, we can see it says unload levels and submap 1, 2, and 3, and unload completed submap 3. So this is where it becomes a little bit interesting, because I would expect all 3 of them to be unloaded, and that's actually not what happens. So as the comment says, this does not actually work. The first one says print string here, and it prints out the name, and at the end, after completed, it says unload completed, and what's supposed to say unloaded completed submap 1, unloaded completed submap 2 and 3, but it actually only says unload completed submap 3, and that is kind of strange. This is in this for each loop here, and the same goes for when I want to load StreamLevels. I use the same approach. So when I enter it and exit it, they were supposed to load all 3 of them. Currently we can't really see it unless I intentionally unhide one of them, for example, or all 3 of them, and they show up loaded now, by the way. Oops. Here. Like that. And when I exit them, I would expect all 3 of them to show up, but only one of them show up, and that is this one, submap 1. So this is where it gets a little bit strange, definitely. So I tried a few different approaches. So if you're just going to disconnect this stuff here, which does not work anyway, we can try something that does work. Actually, the comment is wrong. This does work, sorry. And that is by putting them up in a sequence. But you can see now I hard-coded all of them. So if I hit play and go in, right, so now I don't have anything, and that is why I had this part up here. So let me just connect that up. Now I manually load them on begin play on the persistent level map, as you can see. And when I enter the box, all 3 of them hide, but when I exit them, only one of them show up again. So this is because I used the for each loop down here when I try to load them in again. So this approach does work, but it's kind of a problem that I have to put them up like this, and it doesn't really allow me to do things like this, where I could potentially add more stuff to it, like just setting it up. So I'm just going to delete this one. I tried another approach also. I'm just going to show that for kind of as a demonstration of what I also tried. So if I just going to bring this stuff down here, and this is using a for loop instead of a for each loop. The first was supposed to be 0. Right, so this is using the length and then enumerating them using just a regular for loop instead. And as you can see, only the first one loads. So this is also not working. So I tried yet another approach using a do while loop. As the comment also says, this does not work. This looked a little bit complicated, maybe overcomplicated, but it actually didn't work if I just connected this one up here, because as it happens, this completed part here does not trigger, and that is what I suspect is the problem with this. So I had to have the sequence that trigger this, and then afterwards increment the counter. So when I hit play, again you will see only one of them is hidden. So that does not work either. So I came up with a really nasty hack, which I'm gonna bring up here, which is so far the only workable solution I come up with. And it is a hack, but it is kind of working. So let's say I know for a fact that I'm never gonna load and unload more than, let's say, 5 maps at a time. Then I can use this approach using a bunch of sequences, sequence pins like this. And I have this macro I built, is array entry valid. This is supposed to say 0. And then I will check on each of these if I should unload them. So if we open this one up, it says take this array in and checks the length if it's the entry is less than or equal to this index here, and if it is, then it's gonna exit the valid here and get the name. Otherwise, just gonna go through this invalid one, and I suppose this one would technically be read as a this would probably throw an error, I believe, but we're not going to use it anyway. So when we connect this up and run it, we can see now all of them getting unloaded. This should also work if we just copy all this stuff here and put it down here. Put this junk out to the side and connect this one up and use the lock level. So you can see this is really not the best solution at all, but yeah, well, it does seem to work. So unless somebody can tell me, well, you're doing something completely wrong, this is not the way it's supposed to be used, then please do correct me by commenting on my channel or on the video, and I'll be happy to be corrected. Anyway, so now that we got everything connected up again and run into it and exit it, we can see everything loads and unloads as it should. So this was something I ended up spending almost the entire evening on, and I just wanted to share this because it was really driving me nuts. Right, so I'm just going to leave it here and hope this is going to be useful for somebody. I think I'm also going to upload this project so you can test it out yourself and verify different combinations and so on, and see if you can come up with a way that works with the with one of the loop functions here, which I'm just going to leave out here for you to try and experiment with. So right, that was it for this video. I'm going to continue or return pretty soon with some of the other stuff that I've been working on. But yeah, as you noticed, I've been really busy and haven't really been able to record any videos lately. So I'm going to try and get back into the rhythm again soon. So stay tuned and see you soon. Bye.